Hey, this is Vish here, and I want to welcome you back to class 5 of the video series How Great People Form Great Habits. In the first 3 videos, we talked about the power of connection. And in the fourth video, we touched upon the twist of fates. In this video, we will discover the dreaded word Maya, which means illusion, and how you can literally, at the snap of your fingers, raise your level of consciousness a millionfold. So sit back and enjoy the video. Says Krishna to Arjun, wielded by the delusive power of Yoga Maya, I do not stand revealed to all. The deluded do not know me, unborn and immutable. God is in the heart of all beings, causing them to revolve through Maya as if mounted on a machine, O Arjuna. What does this mean? So what does this mean? Let's begin with a story. The wise sage Narada once said to Krishna, Lord, explain to me what is Maya, explain to me what is illusion. And so a few days later, Krishna asked Narada to make a trip with him towards the desert. They walked several miles together, at which point Krishna said, Narada, I'm thirsty, can you fetch me some water for me? And so Narada, as dutiful as ever, said, I will go at once, sir, and I'll get you the water. And out he went. Now a short distance away, there was a village. Now Narada entered the village in search of water, and he knocked at the door. And a most beautiful young woman, opened it. And at the sight of this woman, Narada immediately he forgot that his master was waiting for water. That he was perhaps even dying for want of it. And Narada forgot everything and he talked with the woman all day. And that talk, ripened into love, and Narada asked the woman's father for a hand. And Narada and the women, they got married and they stayed in the village and they had children. 12 years passed by. Narada's father-in-law, died, in the meanwhile, and Narada inherited all the property, he became rich. He lived with what he believed, was a very happy life with his wife, his children, his fields, his cattle, and everything else he had acquired. Then one night, the river rose, until it overflowed its banks and flooded the entire village. So, everything fell, houses fell, and the torrent of water swept away and drowned people and animals. Narada tried to escape with his wife and children. Just imagine this. Narada tried to escape with his wife and children, carrying one child on his shoulder, okay? And after a few steps, the current overwhelmed him. The child on his shoulder fell and was borne away. A cry of despair came from Narada, and in trying to save the child, he lost his grasp on his other child who was on his other shoulder, and he lost him as well. And at last, the current took away his wife too. He was trying to, whom he had been clasping with all his might. And then the water threw Narada on the bank, and he lay there weeping and wailing, having lost everyone. Behind him, there came the gentle voice of Krishna. He tapped Narada on his shoulders and said, my child, where is the water? You went to fetch a pitcher of water and I am waiting for you. You have gone for nearly 15 minutes. You have gone for nearly half an hour. Half an hour? Narada exclaimed. 12 years had passed through his mind. 12 years, Narada lived 12 years through all these things. He got married, he had children, he inherited all his property. And 12 years had passed through his mind, and yet all of this occurred in half an hour. And that, my dear friends, is Maya. That is illusion. The picture before you, it's a dead JPEG picture, but it moves, it vibrates. 12 years had passed through his mind, and yet all of this occurred in half an hour. Where is my jug of water? Krishna asked again. Well, you see, Narada said, I was about to do that, but Krishna remained insistent. Where is my jug of water, Narada? Crestfallen, Narada had absolutely no answer. And Krishna then smiled and hugged Narada warmly and said, I'm sorry, my child, he said, but you need to go back from where you came. You need to start again. You need to go get the jug of water. And the jug of water, my dear friends, is your purpose of life. It's easy to lose yourself on the way to finding the jug. And how much easier it would be if a higher force in the universe, just imagine, could guide you towards it. God is in the heart of all beings, causing them to revolve through Maya as if mounted on a machine, says Krishna. So what is this Maya? How was this discovered? What is illusion? And, we'll talk about it, the discovery of Maya. In the third module in the Secret of Bhagavad Gita program, which all of you have got, I touched upon 4 parallel worlds, the earth world, the lunar sphere, the electric sphere, the Brahmalok, and the world of Krishna. And I would encourage you to go read the third module again, as it will help us to have a better understanding of this whole subject. Now think about it, and think about it. How could 12 years... how could 12 years of sage Narada, be equal to only 15 minutes of Krishna's time? How could 12 years of sage Narada be equal to only 15 minutes of Krishna's time? Was Krishna joking when he said that? Certainly not. And let's take an example. If you were to walk, from New York to San Francisco, let's say, how much time would that take for you? Around 60 days or more, right? If you guess. Now, if you were to drive from New York to San Francisco, how much time would that take? Around 3 or 4 days, right? And now, if you were to take a flight from New York to San Francisco, how much time would that take? Around 6 hours, roughly, right? So what does all this mean, my dear friends? Time is an illusion. Time is an illusion. The vehicle you use determines the duration of your time. The vehicle you use determines the duration of your time. 60 days walking, the time was same. 60 days walking is equal to 4 days in a car, is equal to 6 hours in a flight. Are you getting this? Time, we have shrink time. 60 days walking is equal to 4 days in a car, is equal to 6 hours in a flight. The distance being the same. The vehicle which Narada used was the mind with a very low vibration, and the vehicle which Krishna employed was a mind with a very high vibration. It's very important that you understand this completely. Hence Krishna said, where were you, Narada, for 15 minutes? So 12 years of Narada's time spent at a low vibration of the mind was equal to 15 minutes of Krishna spent at a high vibration of mind. Is this clear to everyone? Does it make sense now? Does it make any sense if someone tells you, it took him 60 days to walk from New York to San Francisco? You might think that guy is crazy, obviously, right? He could have driven or taken a flight. Time is insignificant, my dear friends. Once you gain the ability to change your vehicle, instead of walking, if you take a vehicle, if you take a car, the time shrinks. If you take a flight, the time still shrinks. And so if you go from a low vibration to a high vibration, time shrinks. If you are at a low vibration, you struggle with managing time and getting organized. However, if you're able to raise your vibration, you hop on to a better vehicle. And you do not have to worry about managing time because you're far ahead of the curve. You got to understand this. You have mastered the science of perfect timing. Imagine, what might take 12 years of struggle, just take 15 minutes at a completely different level of vehicle used. 12 years at a low vibration of mind is equal to 15 minutes at a high vibration of mind. Wouldn't Einstein be thrilled with this? And I want you to do a small exercise. What small exercise just to prove this completely. Flashback. Okay, flashback into the last 12 years of your life. Remember all the past events of your last 12 years, both good and bad. And keep your mind in the past. All right, flashback into the last 12 years and remember all the past events of your mind, both good and past. And keep your mind in the past. Now, how long can you keep your mind in the past 12 years? So, okay, how long can you keep your mind in the past 12 years? 1 minute or 1 hour, 1 day or 1 year or 12 years. No matter, how sensational or boring your past 12 years would have been, I'm sure you cannot remain in it for more than 15 minutes. These 15 minutes, they represent the sum total of your experiences which you carry forward. Is this very clear? So if you're able to remain in your past for only 1 second, that's all is the experiences which you carry forward. If you're able to remain for 10 minutes, that's all. So in this case, we have assumed it's 15 minutes. So these 15 minutes represent the sum total of your experiences which you carry forward. In 15 minutes, my dear friends, you can summarize your past 12 years. That's it. Your past 12 years is actually equal to only 15 minutes of real experience. When you lived it, when you lived the last 12 years, you were under the influence of time. It's very important that you understand it. You were under the influence of time, and so your mind was at a low vibration, and so you lived for 12 years. When those 12 years have passed by, and when you look at your past, your mind is more mature now in relation to time, and your higher mind is able to live in it for only 15 minutes. It's very important. That time you're under the influence of time and it was at a low vibration. Now your mind is more mature. Your mind is a little bit high vibration. You're observing time and your mind suddenly is able to synthesize it to only 15 minutes. Real time is only 15 minutes. The rest is Maya. The rest is Maya, my dear friends. 12 years less 15 minutes is all Maya. If Einstein would have derived an equation for Maya illusion, I'm sure it would go like this. Maya is equal to actual time spent less the sum total of the experiences carried forward. So Maya would be equal to 12 years, which is actual time spent in this case, in this example, less 15 minutes, the experiences carried forward. Isn't that, interesting? So think about it. How are you going to spend the next 12 years of your time? Which vehicle are you going to use to measure time? If your mind is at a low vibration, you'll be spending 11 years, 364 days, 23 hours and 45 minutes under the influence of Maya. If your mind is at a high vibration, the same duration will be lived in 15 flat minutes. Which way do you want to take your mind to, my dear friends? Your past 12 years is worth only 15 minutes. And your next 12 years would also be worth only 15 minutes. Says the great Swami Vivekananda, in one of his books. He writes, I was once traveling in the desert in India. I traveled for over a month and always found the most beautiful landscapes before me, beautiful lakes and all that. And one day, I was very thirsty and I wanted to have a drink at one of these lakes. But when I approached it, that lake vanished. Immediately a blow came into my brain, the idea that this was a mirage about which I had read all my life. And then I remembered and smiled at my folly that for the last month, all the beautiful landscapes and lakes I had been seeing were this mirage. But I could not distinguish them then. The next morning, I again began my march. There was the lake and the landscape. But with it immediately came the idea, this is a mirage. Once known, it had lost its power of illusion. So this illusion of the universe will break one day. The whole of this will vanish and melt away, my dear friends. This is realization. So it is with the universe. We are all traveling in this mirage of the world day after day, month after month, year after year, not knowing that it is a mirage. One day it will break up, but it will come back again because the body has to remain under the power of past karma. And so the mirage will fall back on us. This world will come back upon us so long as we are bound by karma. Man, men, women, animals, plants, our attachments and duties, all will come back to us, but not with the same power. Under the influence of the new knowledge, the strength of karma will be broken. Its poison will be lost. It becomes transformed, for along with it there comes the idea that we know it now, that the sharp distinction between the reality and the mirage has been known and discovered. Do not forget the jug of water. Raise your level of vibration. You have 15 minutes to live in the next 12 years. I enjoyed making this video for you. I'll be back again with another video next week. Till then, God bless and goodbye and thank you.